working hard to maintain them, and so on. Slavery, you become slave of your tongue, of eating, or one becomes a slave of one's anger. So much, there's so much anger often, and in anger you can do, you'll be pushed by this strong force of anger to act even violently or speak words which are afterwards will have very great consequences, and so one is being pushed by anger, being pushed by the mind in many different ways. We always, if one, like we see with Hiranyakashipu, he was a constant servant of his senses. That's what Prabhupada writes here. Everyone is trying to become master through various devices, although everyone is servant of his senses. Yeah, that is basically the choice one has. We are by nature servants, and if we rebel against becoming servants, well, then we're living in the illusion. That's what illusion means. We put into this material world in delusion, where we think in our own, we think that I'm independent and nobody is telling me what I should do, but one is being constantly driven by the senses, and is a slave from, one is a servant and a slave from the moment one gets up to the moment one goes to bed, constantly being driven as a servant. And even also when one is sleeping, it's just another kind of, the body, one is a servant of the body. Actually, it would be nice we didn't have to sleep, and we wouldn't have to, the body is forcing us so many ways, just, that we have to clean it, we have to, go to the toilet, and so on. Constantly, it's simply our nature, we are even servants of this body. There is no moment in time when we're not servants. But in illusion, we think that nobody is telling me I'm free, and so on. But one is a servant constantly. And it's so easy to see with everyone else. We just look at, I can see everyone else, and I look at, outlets. Everyone on the street, getting up and going to work in these dark hours, going to an office, going to a factory, going to, dig a hole somewhere as a servant. And it's just we have a whole army of slaves in this city. It's just slavery. But you can ask everyone. Some might be a little introspective and say, yes, I'm just a servant. Probably most will say, no, nobody's telling me I'm a free man. I'm free, but it's just absurd. There's nothing. One simply belongs to an army of servants, an army of slaves, doing the same hackneyed stereotype activities that everyone else is also being forced to do. There's nothing free about that. And that's so, again, because it's simply our nature to be servants. We are rebelling against our real nature. So in illusion we think we are masters, but we are being forced to slave hard, for serving the material energy, which simply brings frustration. Serving material energy doesn't give any happiness. It's simply one is engaged in hard labor, so hard labor that one ultimately is falling, collapsing from being worn down. That's material energy. One works hard, one is foaming at the mouth, sweating and collapsing. One is in constant anxiety. Also, there's constant fear and anxiety and disappointment. One has an illusion, I'm going to work hard and I'll get a goal and then I'll be happy. But there's constant disappointment. One doesn't get it. And finally, one is sitting as an old wreck completely frustrated, and then death comes. And that's the result of serving in the material world, and there's no benefit from it, except another lifetime where one can repeat the same again and again and again. And that will go on as long as we're rebelling against our very basic fact that we are servants by nature, but that we don't want to serve. So therefore, everywhere in the scriptures, actually the position of servant is actually being glorified, just to wake us up to reality that first of all, this is just what we are. We are servants by nature, and to be servants of Krishna is actually wonderful. It's glorious. It's very, very satisfactory. It is to serve. The internal energy is not at all slavery, and we should actually be happy to serve the internal energy, to serve Krishna's energy, to serve the Vaishnavas. That's where that's the only freedom we have. We have this freedom. We can choose if we will serve the internal energy or we will serve the external energy. Serving the external energy means in illusion we think I'm masters while we've been servants of the senses constantly. Or we can voluntarily embrace the identity of being servants of Krishna, servants of Krishna's servants. Just like Lord Chaitanya said, when he was asked what he was, he said, Govi Bhatu Padakamaliyo Dasa Dasa no Das. I'm simply a servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna's servant. This is my simple identity. And if one can come to that point and be situated simply as Krishna's servant of the servant of the servant of the servant, that is perfection. And that's where one can find, actually one finds freedom, and one finds freedom, and one finds happiness and enlightenment. One finds actually the actual happiness that one is looking for. We're all looking for happiness. Happiness comes from relationship. We cannot be happy on our own. This is also, there's a paradox. Also one sees that many who are like, great chariots of their personal freedom, and I'm not gonna, but actually they become extremely lonely, isolated, because relationship, which is, if one wants the happiness through loving relationships, then one again has to involve himself in serving others. This is how one actually also has relationships. If you want relationship with Krishna, we serve Krishna, and he also serves us. We also understand that it's not only that we have to serve Krishna. Krishna is serving us constantly. It goes both ways, and it's probably like that in the lecture of devotion in the introduction there that it is our nature to be servants, and by serving each other we actually gain happiness. One gets, one enters relationships. How is it that he probably gives the example of an ordinary mundane man who has his wife and children, his family, and he's busy serving the family, the husband of the family, the man in the family. He has to serve like everyone else in the family, and he has to provide for the family and take care of the family and so on. But out of love for his family, he's even taking all the hardships of very unpleasant work sometimes, and because there is a loving relationship there, and he is also, it actually establishes that relationship when father comes back home, and they know, wife, children know actually he's working so hard and going through so much austerity and hardship for our sake. They're so grateful, and they're so appreciative. This is what establishes relationship. That you serve, in relationship you serve. and you sacrifice for each other. And but if we're not willing to serve others, we also will not get relationships with others. And that's ultimately what we really want. We want a relationship with Krishna, we want a relationship with Krishna's devotees, but that means that we have to accept the position of servant. If we are servants, then we will also experience relationships, and whatever that entails, all the happiness involved in coming as a result of relationships. To the degree we're rebelling against the position of being servants, and we want to be masters, well, to that degree we'll also be isolated, and we'll be servants of the material energy also. The demonic mentality of wanting to become servants is, of course, something we have to fight it. We are, most of us here are truly conditioned souls who are here because we have rebelled against Krishna and Krishna's service, and it's very deep within us even when we are in the process of devotional service, and when we are aspiring devotees, but constantly we have this rebellious nature appearing within us, and we have to fight it, and always simply be satisfied and very happy and satisfied with the position of being servants. Even within a spiritual organization, a Krishna conscious organization, there can also be rivalry and striving for positions. I want to be the leader, I want to be the temple president, I want to be the guru, I want to be, have this position or that position, or one wants to, just take advantage of the facility connected with Krishna's service. That's also it's the same thing again. One is rebelling against the concept of being servants. Actually, we are, and this can also, even though if we're dressing as devotees and like that, but if we are at any level rebelling against this principle of being servants, well, then we still belong in the material world, and we're not really in the process of devotional service. Devotional service just means service, and there is no other. Nothing else is being offered in this movement. So there's only service, and of course, sometimes there are temporary positions because things have to be organized, go on and so on. But they are, they are not the goal. If this is what one is striving for, one is deviating from devotional service, and there's no goal of perfection in getting any kind of position, material position within. Of course, there's no material positions within the movement, but there's no perfection in positions or in adoration or worship or anything like that. There's only one perfection, and this is simply being a servant, being humble servants at all times. I'll just stop here. Sorry for. There's 1 minute for one question. So,
1 minute for one question?
Yeah.
Are you going on this way?
Yeah, I have to go.
So I didn't hear the class, but you said this.
Oh.
How
can you ask a question if you didn't hear the class?
Because I heard the last part, and I have a question. How to become this humble servant when you have a position? Because that's
We all have positions, but we also understand that this is just another facility of service. We're simply serving in whatever position. Everyone has a position. You're always, service means you're in, there's something is being offered. You have to somewhat within your service be in control of that. If it's washing the floor, then you're in control. You're a master of the broomstick and the bucket, and maybe some others who are helping you also. You have to tell them if you should lean over there and so on. So it's position simply means service. So one should always identify, no matter what position it is, I'm servant. And if one identifies with a position, then one is an illusion. Or if one strives for the position, that's illusory. One simply strives for service. And one can be unaffected even by so-called position if you always understand this is simply service. When Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, there's an amazing lecture he gives on his Vyasa Puja Day. You probably know this. You know this. There are few Vyasa Puja lectures that have survived. We still have it from Bhakti Saraswati. So he's sitting there as the position as a guru and the head of this incredible, successful institution, and he's being worshipped as a new acharya. He is a great acharya. But in his lecture, when you hear him in the lecture, he's saying here, he's talking about that here I'm being put as the biggest animal, and I'm simply so why have I been put in this position here where I have to hear glorification of myself because I'm such a big animal that's the only way I can be purified of this mentality I can see exists. It's just absurd I'm being glorified like this. You know this. I didn't read a long time ago since but it's such first of all, Bhakti Saraswati in that position, he simply sees himself, I'm the servant, and you all, he's talking about his disciples, you're all representatives of my guru, you're sent by my guru for me to render service. You're simply representatives of my guru. And I'm here for being I'm your servant. And then he talks about how Krishna has put him in this embarrassing situation where he is being worshipped just to purify him of his desire to be worshipped. And he's talking about actually how, and he's such an animal, he's such a low person, that the only way that he could get purified was to be put as in the position of guru. Actually, I cannot even. But Bhakti Saraswati was an amazing personality, and the way he puts it, you can read. It's fantastic meditation because it also makes one humble. One can see actually how he genuinely was humble in the position of being the biggest acharya of his time. But we always servants, and it's important to maintain that, and also constantly check with oneself. Okay, I'm a servant, so that means a servant means he just does service in any situation, whatever is needed to do, and he's happy to do it. So if I'm not happy to do it, if I'm not willing to do it, when I joined, I was so eager to do service, and I would clean anything, clean the pots, clean the toilets, take the dust of everyone, and so on. That's the right mood. Am I like that still? Or now I'm a senior person. Now it's I've done so much surgeries. Now I should be allowed to label back, and others they should serve me like that. Once things like that, then one actually lost the point. The same mentality of being, eager for any kind of service, cleaning the toilets or whatever is needed, should always be there to the moment one leaves this body and beyond. It's simply our eternal identity, to be in that position of simply wanting to serve, and wherever there's service, the more, in one sense, the more humble the service is, the more eager a true devotee is for that service. If we are not, then actually we're still demons. We're just demons who are, hiding behind the mark of tilak. We put our tilak on our forehead and think we're not demons because we put tilak on our head. John? Yeah, thank you. I have to stop here. I have to
You stay for Prashad?
No, I don't even know. Gør det. Streamer var som en bil.
Ja.
Prøv at bare helt.
Ja.